So then it's all this.
How many proclamations?
We have 7 days. We'll change the world. Arbor Day. Yeah, we have a very
Now it's time. Now it's time. You're right. Thank you.
Hi, Tilly. Oh, Tilly. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's April 13th City Council meeting. If you're able to, I'd love to have you stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We do have a full list of proclamations to do this evening. So the first one up is 7 days, make a ripple, change the world. If I could have some representative. And would you like to introduce yourself and tell us just a little bit about 7 days?
Thank you. My name's Tim Osborne. I'm here from 7 Days. I serve on the board, and it is a great organization that helps overcome hate by promoting education, kindness, inclusion, all sorts of great things. Focused mostly towards kids. There's lots of opportunities for the youth to kind of get involved and learn about different cultures and communities within our community. It's really great to see everyone get together. There's some materials laying around if you'd like any more information. Those little stickers were all designed by students involved in the organization this year to promote the 7 days of kindness, they call it. So thank you all for having me.
Whereas 7 days, make a ripple, change the world, works to overcome hate by promoting kindness and understanding through education and dialogue. And whereas 7 days provides opportunities that encourage all people to participate in activities that promote and practice kindness. And whereas 7 days, 2026, will commemorate its second decade focused on teaching kindness and making a ripple to change the world. And whereas 7 Days 2026 begins on Monday, April 20th, and will feature the Ripples of Kindness breakfast on Thursday, April 23rd, a celebration of area youth, and the announcement of the 6th annual Ripple of Kindness honorees, and will continue through Tuesday, April 28th. And whereas 7 Days continues its daily themes of love, discover, others, connect, you, go, and onward, bringing people from all walks of life together to overcome hate through acts of kindness. And whereas the memories of 3 wonderful and unique people, Reed Underwood, Dr. William Corcoran, and Terry Lamano, will be honored through kindness and understanding. And whereas 7 Days expands acts of compassion, acceptance, and understanding to all who gather. And whereas we fully support and encourage all in Bonner Springs, including the residents, businesses, organizations, and visitors, to come together during 7 days to act more kindly and to be more understanding of differences, thereby making the world a better place, one ripple at a time. Now, therefore, I, Tom Stevens, Mayor of the City of Bonner Springs, Kansas, do hereby proclaim April 20th, 26th through April 28th, 2026 as 7 Days of Kindness in Bonner Springs, and urge all citizens to engage in acts of kindness throughout the week and remember the events of April 13th, 2024, and not only for the losses of that day, but also for the significance of the powerful and enduring vow to overcome hate and with kindness. Up next is National Child Abuse Prevention Month. If I could have some representatives. And if you'd like to introduce yourselves and then maybe talk a little bit about the organization.
Hi there, my name is Vicki Campbell. I am the Director of Volunteer Engagement with CASA, and we serve Leavenworth and Atchison counties. And this is my lovely co-worker. She's been with us for exactly 6 days, Jamie. And so I guess I will do the talking tonight. CASA, for those of you who don't know what CASA is, it stands for Court Appointed Special Advocates. We are a volunteer, definitely a volunteer-based organization, and we train dedicated volunteers to become a beacon for children who are in the foster care system or who are placed outside of their home for whatever reason that may be. These folks are amazing. They stay with us for at least 1 to 2 years. They really become that beacon of hope for a child. They learn how to write court reports that are heavily relied upon by the judicial systems. Then we also have a visitation center. It's a child CEVC. It's an exchange visitation center. I can't do all the acronyms. Where non-custodial parents get to visit with their children in a safe environment at least once a week. So we are very happy to be here, and we are happy that you support Child Abuse Prevention Month.
Yes, you do a wonderful job, your organization. Whereas in fiscal year 2026, 70,303 reports were made to Child Protective Services in the state of Kansas. And whereas child abuse and neglect are serious problems affecting every segment of our community, and finding solutions requires input and action from everyone. And whereas our children are our most valuable resource and will shape the future of the state of Kansas. And whereas child abuse can have a long-term psychological, emotional, and physical effects that have lasting consequences for victims of abuse. And whereas protective factors are conditions that reduce or eliminate risk and promote the social, emotional, and development well-being of children. Whereas effective child abuse prevention activities succeed because of the partnerships created between child welfare professionals, education, health communities, faith-based communities, businesses, law enforcement agencies, and families. And whereas we acknowledge that we must work together as a community to increase awareness about child abuse and contribute to promote the social and emotional well-being of children and families in a safe, stable, and nurturing environment. And whereas prevention remains the best defense for our children and families. Now, therefore, I, Tom Stevens, Mayor of the City of Bonner Springs, Kansas, do hereby proclaim April 2026 as National Child Abuse Prevention Month in Bonner Springs, Kansas, and urge all citizens to recognize this month by dedicating ourselves to the task of improving the quality of life for all children and families. You're welcome. Next up, we have Arbor Day. If I can get members of the Bonner Beautiful Commission up here, and Parks and Rec. Judy, are you going to be our spokesperson?
Sure.
Okay, let's go ahead and I will turn the mic over right now to Judy to give us a little bit of input about Arbor Day and Tree City, USA.
Tree City, USA, you bet. Arbor Day, as most of you might know, began in Nebraska City, Nebraska. It's to make sure that for every tree that goes down, another one comes back up. And so we've been part of that since the beginning of time. And fortunately, through some grants and things like that, we've gotten more trees probably in the last 2 years than we've gotten in the last 20. But anyway, one of the things that we are really, really, really proud of is that we were in western Kansas at a conference with Arbor Day, and we were awarded a 40-year badge for being Tree City, USA for the city of Bonner Springs, Kansas. I think there was only one other town that had the same thing, so we had some bragging rights there. So, but this is to let you know, Arbor Day celebration, we always have it with the grade school kids every April and let them know what's going on. This year we're giving away some pencils and just let ourselves be known that trees count. Water them, take care of them, trim them, the whole thing. So anyway, that's what we do.
Thank you. And as well, I will just mention, I spent a little time years ago on this committee, and yes, it is a lot of passion that these ladies have, and the gentleman down there, Mr. Stolfus, one of our former mayors. So they have a lot of passion for wanting to make sure that we are a city with a lot of trees and a lot of green. Whereas in 1872, the Nebraska Board of Agriculture established a special day to be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas the holiday called Arbor Day was first observed when more than 1 million trees were planted in Nebraska. And whereas trees provide many benefits to our environment. And whereas since 1986, the city of Bonner Springs has planted thousands of trees along our streets, in our parks, in our cemetery, and on our school grounds. And whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other products such as pencils. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, I, Tom Stevens, Mayor of the City of Bonner Springs, Kansas, do hereby proclaim April 24th, 2026 as Arbor Day in the city of Bonner Springs, Kansas. And I urge all citizens to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands and to plant trees to promote the well-being of this and future generations. Take another on this side.
Yeah, get this up.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Betty.
Give Cindy hugs.
I will do that. And then we are on to our last one, National Library Week. And we have some members.
So I'm Jack Grandith with the director of the Bonner Springs Library, and with me is Claudia Patrick, who's representing both the Library Board of Trustees and the Friends of the Library, and our mayor is also on the Library Board of Trustees. And I want to, many of you probably know Leslie already. She's our children's librarian for more than a decade, but this year she stepped up to be our assistant director, so introducing her as the new assistant director for the library. And all I want to say is thank you for all of your support through the years. And Leslie has a little story about community support from just today.
Thank you. If you saw last week, it was Library Giving Day. That's a national fundraising event for one day to raise money for libraries that we've participated in the past couple of years. And we found out today that we raised over $5,000 with donations from community members, which is vital to the programs we do and summer events and things like that. So we're very grateful to people that advocate for the library, tell stories about the library, and support us, especially leading into National Library Week. So thank you for everyone that supports the library.
Whereas libraries spark creativity, fuel imagination, and inspire lifelong learning, offering a space where individuals of all ages can find joy through exploration and discovery. Whereas libraries serve as vibrant community hubs, connecting people with knowledge, technology, and resources, while fostering civic engagement, critical thinking, and cultural enrichment. Whereas libraries provide free and equitable access to books, digital tools, and innovative programming, ensuring that all individuals, regardless of background, have the support they need to learn, connect, and thrive. Whereas libraries empower job seekers, entrepreneurs, lifelong learners by providing access to resources, training, and opportunities that support career growth and economic success. Whereas libraries protect the right to read, think, and explore without censorship, standing as champions of intellectual freedom and free expression. Whereas dedicated librarians and library workers provide welcoming spaces that inspire discovery, collaboration, and creativity for all. Whereas libraries, librarians, and library workers across the country are joining together to celebrate National Library Week under the theme, Find Your Joy. Now, therefore, I, Tom Stevens, Mayor of the City of Bonner Springs, do hereby proclaim National Library Week, April 19th through the 25th, 2026, as National Library Week in Bonner Springs, Kansas. During this week, I encourage all residents to visit their library, explore its resources, and celebrate all the ways that the library helps our community find joy. Continuing on with tonight's meeting, the first thing we have is a presentation by the Bonner Springs Fire Department.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. James Zeeb, Fire Chief, Bonner Springs Fire Department. This evening, it's my pleasure to introduce Andy Traub from Traub and Associates. He's going to talk about a project that we have entered into with his organization. And we had hoped to have Captain Mike Wim here this evening, but as per usual, about 7 minutes ago, they went out the door. So,
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. My name is Andy Traub. My background is I've been in HR for 30 years. Past 15 years, I've been involved heavily with disability inclusion and helping businesses and organizations around the world become more disability inclusive. Just out of curiosity, and I'll ask everybody in the room, how many of you, by raise of hand, how many of you actually have individuals within your immediate family that have some sort of condition that can be considered disability? Raise your hand, please. How many of you actually, leave your hands up. How many of you in your extended family have somebody with a known disability? Raise your hand. Okay, keep your hands up. How many of you within your friend group know of somebody who has a disability? Go ahead and raise your hand. It doesn't take very long to actually realize that individuals with disabilities are in our community. But one of the things that we actually found was, I actually have a son who is a firefighter in a different department. But he came home one day and he said that, hey, we had this interesting call. The call came through as a medical call. The father was in mid-50s, having chest pain. We got there and there was a 17-year-old boy who was very much agitated and was clearly in fight, flight, or freeze mode. And the police department had to be called for the safety of the firefighters. This was shortly after Graham Hoffman out of KCK lost his life on the line of duty. They're following protocol. The interesting part about it is my son actually, based upon the things I've done, and he's been around me long enough, recognized the fact that this boy had autism. He was overstimulated. Here, sirens come wailing. Dad, my caregiver's now on the floor. I don't know what's happening. Then these people, these strangers, knock on the door, and they don't knock like Avon. They come in, bags and all this other stuff, and here I am, a 17-year-old, completely overwhelmed. My son was able to de-escalate that individual, but but he was like, nobody really knew what to do with that boy, even in the police department. Was like, we just don't know. Just don't do anything crazy, or we'll have two victims in the scene. That sparked in me is like, this is the same knowledge that I've been given businesses and governments around the world about how to talk about disabilities. This isn't about an employment issue. This isn't about some sort of operating procedure. This is about a human issue. And how can I possibly be able to help the first responders who will answer the call, just like Captain Wim is doing right now on somebody's worst day? And how do they actually get information about interacting with people who may appear differently than them without actually putting other people in danger? And so that's where IMPACT came along. It stands for Integrated Mental, Physical, Psychological Awareness Communication Tactics. It's giving them an opportunity, our first responders, an opportunity to interact and have the freedom and knowledge of what can I do, even though it may not necessarily be within our SOPs. And that's what IMPACT actually has been able to do. We've trained many people. We've had over 200 firefighters and lots of senior leadership that have actually taken the training. And they say, we have the data that shows, they actually now know what that next thing, I wish I could do one more thing on those calls. Now they actually have something that they can actually do, and they're also aware. I'm happy to say Bonner Springs Fire Department, Captain Wim was instrumental. Former Chief Tim Richards actually found that this was like, we really need to talk about this type of knowledge. And so he helped get the department engaged. The training has been tested, retested, modified with the help of Bonner Springs Fire Department. We are now in contact with over 20 departments around the nation, talking about this training that we have for fire department and EMS. And happy to say that we will be piloting a law enforcement component. This training was 90 minutes. It was opportunities for every member on every shift to ask questions, talk about their own biases or concerns, and run scenarios and put them in the real time, in an actual environment in which they would actually have on a regular basis. They were able to use that information. At the end of 90 minutes, they're equipped with Chief has one of the impact kits that can be deployed at any given time for them to have that next thing. And yes, it does include one of Bonner Springs Fire Department's Bonner Bears that can be deployed. And the interesting part about it is if you everybody thinks that you give the bear out to every kid that you see. No. Yeah, they'd probably like it, but it's amazing. That bear is grounding. It doesn't matter. I've actually seen chiefs, not Chief Sieb, but I've actually had other chiefs actually take it and they're petting it during presentations. They are ground. It's something to ground them, to have some sort of, no matter what's going on, I can start petting the bear or whatever. So there's a lot of things. Chief Sieb will be around if you're interested in seeing. But these kits also were created with the help of Bonner Springs Fire Department. We have headphones, we have sunglasses, we have coloring books, we have crayons, we have fidget toys, we have the Bonner Bear, we have coloring books. There's a lot of different ways that you can deploy this kit. We've had stories of one kit being deployed to a mother in a grocery store. She had 3 young kids, all under the age of 5, and they were all over the store. Mom was done. Mom was cooked. One of the chiefs actually had the bag in his truck, went back outside, grabbed it, and the kids, within a short period of time, are near the cart with mom, and mom's in tears because it wasn't a call to 911 that was needed. It was just somebody to actually help, and this is one way they were able to do it. We also have communication cards. Half the people with autism are nonverbal, and so we've created cards with the help of Bonner Springs Fire Department to actually have more of a conversation with people who may not be able to speak, may not be able to hear. And we have this now done in 50 different languages. Bonner Springs is equipped with English versions as well as Spanish versions, and they are in every kit, and they can be deployed however, but it goes through everything from the trauma to medical, and on the back page we actually have things for mental health. So that's another way for them to communicate when people aren't able to communicate by talking. So those are the 3 aspects of it, is the training, the kit, and the communication card. And I do want to, since Captain Wim is actually out doing his thing, he actually gave me one anecdote that I'd like to read to you. This is from Bonner Springs Fire Department. We deployed 2 kits on one call. We responded to a pediatric patient that was appearing more lethargic than normal. She appeared nervous and anxious while being assessed. Patient's younger sister also kept coming to check on her unless she was being held back by her mom. Once evaluation was complete, patient was given a kit and the contents to help her to calm down. It made my day to see the patient's eyes light up when she saw the Bonner Bear. Patient was happy and full of energy while looking through the kit. Patient's sister was also looking through the kit, and sister was saddened learning that there was only one bear. Knowing that the sister had lived through a traumatic event at a young age of seeing her sister ill and surrounded by complete strangers, the patient's sister was also given a kit. The mother was really appreciative of the kits being given to her kids and thanked the crew multiple times for it. She liked the fact that the kids were happy after a stressful event and knows they will be talking talking positively about this event. Mike goes on to say, impact training not only helps us with more knowledge of those with disabilities or special considerations, but can create a positive impact on anyone we meet. We are responding to someone's worst day. We can help mitigate that stress with not only high-quality care and kind words, but also the act of giving them something. This act of giving does twofold. It creates a positive response for the patient, and it also creates a positive response for the provider also, which can play strongly into the provider's mental health. These kits help with communication via the communication card and notebooks and distractions and redirecting focus via the fidgets and the bear, and help reduce stimuli via the sunglasses and earmuffs. These tools are things we did not have before, and I know that now we have them at our disposal. We will create more positive impacts to the citizens we all serve. One of the things that Mike brought up is the fact that actually this is good for the first responders. There's something that when they see trauma, they see things that many of us pray never actually have to see and experience. That lives rent-free in their mind. But the thing that actually has been found is by being an act of giving can actually override some of that trauma that they actually experience themselves by being able to remember the positive things that they can have for human interaction. So I'm happy to say that Bonner Springs Fire Department, to the person is trained. I think we have a couple people that were newly hired, but we will get them trained in the next week. But I wanted to thank you for allowing me to engage with the fire department and the help of Chief Zeeb and the team.
We're going to have some questions,
We
probably.
got questions.
Did you want to say anything, Chief, at all? Okay. Any questions from anyone?
Thank you. Thank you.
I got a question.
Okay.
I might have missed it, but is this like, how implemented is this like around the state of Kansas or even just the county?
So Bonner Springs allowed us to be their first fully trained department.
Okay.
We have other departments in Johnson County that we're talking to. They're in a different part of the journey, but Bonner Springs is the first one to actually be completed, and all of our information that we put out publicly will address Bonner Springs as being the tip of the spear.
This is such an amazing program. If you're not already connected, you should get connected with Randy from Wyandotte Mental Health, because we've had conversations about how Wyandotte County as a whole needs to be better about mental health responses. And we've been like trying to kind of work through that together. I actually saw him today, and here you are. So that would be a great person for you to get connected with for those initiatives if you're wanting to expand in the county. Also, how do we get a Bonner Bear?
You don't get one.
Don't make me call 911, Chief. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your work you're doing on this. This is amazing.
Thank you.
I was just going to comment that right now it's just the fire department, correct? It's not the police department, only the fire department that's involved in this. You hear way too many stories around the country about going on calls and somebody, they don't know how to handle the situation, and the interactions cause more problems and sometimes leads to fatalities or harm to an individual that wasn't even involved, didn't understand what was going on. So I am very glad that you're always on that cutting edge, but I think this is a good one to be on the leading edge for. So thank you very much, Chief. Any other comments, questions?
Well said.
I think it was very interesting how you say how it affects the officers at the scene through the act of giving. I appreciate that. That's cool.
Thank you.
Unless you've got something else to add, thank you very much
Thank you
for
very
the
much.
presentation.
Appreciate it.
Okay, on with citizens' concerns about items not on tonight's agenda. There's an opportunity for citizens to address the mayor and city council on the record in the open public meeting. No immediate action will be taken on these issues in the interest of fair and transparent government. Is there anybody who wishes to speak on any item that's not on tonight's agenda? Seeing none, we will go ahead then and move on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda includes the minutes of the March 23rd, 2026 City Council meeting, claims for city operations, public use request for Makers Fair, public use request for Tot Trot, public use request for Bayless Block Party, and a public use request for the summer concert series. Is there anything the staff wishes to have polled?
Mr. Mayor,
Hold on. Is there any resident wish to have anything polled? Council?
I don't necessarily want to pull them, but I just wanted to give Megan the opportunity to give more insight on why there's a public use request, two for the same date for Makers Fair and the summer concert series.
Is that an easy question to answer? without pulling it? That's what I'm trying to decide
Yeah,
if
I
I
don't
want to pull
necessarily
it.
want to pull it. I just want to give her the opportunity to explain
If
why
we're going to
there's-
have discussion, that's the key is, okay, can you give us a real quick then?
Okay, so you have two public use requests on your consent for tonight. One is for Makers Fair, our traditional vendors event that happens from 10 to 3 a.m., or 10 to 3 p.m., oh my God. That happens from 10 to 3. And then Oak Street will reopen at like 4:30 once I get all the vendors off the street. And then we will close Centennial Park at 4 because this year, instead of doing evenings on Oak, we're trying to do a summer concert series. And so the first concert will be that May 9th night. So that will then close Centennial from like 4 to 10:30, 11 o'clock, whatever I put on the public use request. But it's kind of two events all in the same day.
Same day, but different times.
And
two
different locations.
Different locations.
And we would, and you guys did approve the change of the, having two CCAs, common consumption. So the whole downtown will be common consumption during the vendors event. And then only the small Centennial Park one will be used for the concert. So, because we will have Oak Street back open and we don't want people walking out of Centennial.
Thank you for explaining, Megan. With that then, yes?
I just have a yes or no on one of these. On the Bayless Block Party.
Okay.
Have we had, this is a repeating request annually. Have we had any complaints come through on this event?
I don't think we have since they started doing it directly in front of their house.
Okay.
So, and these were all sent out to police, fire, public works.
I know they always follow the
Prior.
process. I just want to make sure nothing had changed in the
Yep.
results. Thank you.
Okay, I would go ahead and accept the motion.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Reeves, a second by Ms. Blanks. We'll give you the second. With that, I will go ahead and have the clerk go ahead and call the vote, record the vote.
Gurley?
Yes.
Kip?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
McMahon?
Yes.
Blanks?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, on to new business. The next three items all had public hearings at the planning department, so instead of asking at each one, I will just ask anybody if they've had any type of, any disclosures they need to make. I will say I had, on BSRZ 0226, I did have one opponent of the rezoning request via email.
Nothing.
Anything? Anybody else? Okay. Then we will move on, and since these all had public hearings at the Planning Commission, there will not be any public input taken this evening. The first item is BSRZ 0325, the rezoning and preliminary development plan request for the bungalows at Bonner Springs.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members, Mark Lee, Community Development Director. This evening we have, as Mayor mentioned, three rezonings that come in front of you. The first one is for the bungalows at Bonner Springs. This agenda item was remanded back to the Planning Commission by you all as the governing body at its regularly scheduled meeting on the 23rd of February for consideration of the traffic impact study. Traffic impact study has been completed, reviewed, approved by the city engineer, and provided as an attachment in your packet this evening. The remainder of the packet that was presented remained the same as was previously submitted to the Planning Commission on January 20th, so none of the information beyond the traffic impact study had been changed or amended or altered. A portion of the property was rezoned in 2023 from A1 agricultural to R3 multifamily residential in preparation of the Cornerstone apartment project. That project failed to come to fruition after several steps and processes were complete. These steps and processes included the approved rezoning, an approved lot split, submittal of a traffic impact study, stormwater drainage study, and an approved site and landscape plan, among other things. In mid-June of 2025, staff was contacted about the potential of redeveloping or developing the proposed area by another development group. The proposed rezoning would allow for the construction of 186 market-rate, single-family build-for-rent dwelling units. The development will be comprised of a mix of housing units consisting of 28 one-bedroom homes constructed as duplexes, 86 two-bedroom homes, and 73 bedroom homes. A clubhouse is proposed for the development, along with a mix of covered and uncovered parking, internal sidewalks, and other amenities for the residents of the development. The property consists of approximately 21 acres. It will have 2 gated vehicular ingress and egress areas, which are indicated on the plan, and a large tract will be left undeveloped for stormwater management purposes. The traffic impact study and drainage study have both been submitted for review and have since been approved, along with an overall site and landscape plan. This is also, comes along with it a preliminary development plan as well, and that is also in your packet that shows the proposed layout. With that, stand for questions.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Lee. And we will go ahead and I will go ahead and entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to adopt an ordinance approving the rezoning and preliminary development plan request for the bungalows at Bonner Springs.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Shannon, a second by Ms. Blanks, and we'll start with you, Mr. Shannon. Comments, questions, concerns?
No, this is great. Mark, thanks for all your hard work on it. I know this was not necessarily easy, but I think this is going to be a great addition for our community. And thanks for all your work.
Hey, Mark, when we were here last time, I think the traffic study was one thing, but then we didn't really have a clarity on why they went 06. Was it 100% about the traffic study?
I'm sorry?
They voted it down. They sent it to us with.
There was concerns. The main concerns were about the traffic, yes. And that was the main outlier that came out of that was what will the traffic impact be?
So the no positive votes from the Planning Commission was strictly about the traffic study, because we were confused here last time.
Right.
That we didn't know why they sent it to us, because they didn't give us any notes.
I would say I was confused as well, sir. But they did. There was a huge concern about the traffic impact and the potential that it could increase what was already there.
Okay. And so that solved it, because there was a few people missing, it looked like, on the vote.
Yeah, there was. They were all made aware that this was a fairly important meeting, and some of them had prior engagements and could not attend, but regardless, as you saw, the remaining 4 did approve it unanimously. Sorry.
Oh, I thought it was 3-1.
It was, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Ms. Neff, you're correct. My fault.
Okay, so that was the part that I didn't understand, was the portion about that. But thanks for your work on that and the clarification.
I was trying to get back to the traffic study. It doesn't want to load. It looks like in the recommendations of the traffic study, there are still some concerns.
There is concerns for future development around the area, yes, and what impact that could have. There is 2 hours of the day where they find it does not operate at a substantial level, but it is still operational.
And some of those were around the Case 7 Kansas Avenue interchange.
They were.
Which is outside the scope of our control
To a
at
certain
city
extent,
level.
yes. Moving forward, we can coordinate with KDOT more, obviously, on the operational ability of the signals.
That recommendation that we look at, and I think it was based on 2% growth. The recommendation that we look at the future needs, was that allowing for this particular development? Did they think this particular development was going to overload outside those 2 windows of time each day where it gets clogged up? Other than that, the traffic study appeared to support this additional traffic.
Yes, yes, it
I
did.
know I worded that poorly, I'm sorry.
No, but you're right. You're right. The traffic impact of this development is indicated in that plan, and it does show that outside of this development and future conditions could result in more negative traffic impacts.
And did that traffic study also allow for the, I'm going to call it the wrong thing, the senior living at 132nd?
It was not taken into account at the time because it hadn't quite got into construction phases, so it was not captured in this report. It was spoke about in our public hearing by the traffic engineer, which I believe she is here this evening if there's specific questions that revolve around that, but the impact of the senior villas is minimal because of the traffic that's generated by the 55 and older population.
Okay.
Just hate to say that, but that's
Okay, thank you.
right.
No questions because they've been asked.
Thank you. Mr. McMahon?
Yeah, notwithstanding, housing is necessary. I mean, right, I mean, it would be great if that plot of land was somewhere where it wouldn't affect the traffic concerns that we have, so, but it's not, and it is what it is. I think for the city, to be able to facilitate something like that, we have to have a contingency plan to what we're going to do for the roads to be able to facilitate. I mean, if the traffic study, which I agree, and I think they err more on the conservative side than they will, well, this is what it could really potentially be. So to me, that is a concern. And I just, you know, Mr. Mayor, I don't know how we look at this, but so, you know, what's the answer? What's the fix? Do we maybe pause and then figure out what to do in terms of that, the street concerns or the potential congestion of traffic because of the density? It can be kind of rough already in those areas at certain times of the day. So, but I'm not saying we don't need housing. I'm all about that, but just trying to figure out, you know, how to put pieces in place as we move forward.
Well, I will just say this, that I think there's been concerns about the intersection even prior to this project. And this project, of course, had just brought up new concerns from individuals. Staff is actually actively working on some different potential solutions. There's not really in a concrete yet fashion where they can be presented yet, but they are looking at some solutions of a way that intersection potentially could be redesigned. And once we feel comfortable enough approaching KDOT about those. So I would personally, I would say you're going to have the traffic issue, regardless whether this project gets built or not. It's on our part to be aggressive and look forward to trying to find solutions, not only for now, but for down the road.
Okay.
So,
I will take that off as a jumping point. Mark has a valid point. When I've talked to staff, as Mr. Mayor said, there is a project that's being planned in the future around that area in partnership with KDOT. It's just about getting the funding, but there is a long-term plan there that they've already gone to meetings with KDOT and are like being very forward about making this happen. Because as Megan talked about in her presentation, like growth is coming and we need to start planning now and have a 5-year plan. And infrastructure is something that is at the very, not only public works for like waste, but infrastructure to handle traffic is at the top of city staff's priority list right now.
Sure. And I don't know if this is the time to talk about it, but if we were to do something, I'd like to see the two run parallel with one another, right? Or work on the street.
The funding would be a sticking point on that one for the KDOT improvements and stuff on K7, but yeah. Right.
Is that something that the city needs to start mitigating? Or have we already started?
So staff has been working on that, as Mayor mentioned, and we've started discussions with KDOT, or brought it back up again. We've been in discussions with KDOT for decades, but also our meeting next week, we'll talk about a lot of our infrastructure and growth challenges.
I think my point of bringing that up, just because you were like, are we planning for it? There is long-term plan there that they're already on top of. It's just the major hiccup is the cost to do what they're proposing with KDOT.
Sure.
KDOT has a plan for that intersection. We would like to try and make it a little more accommodating for the businesses that are around there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think those potential accommodations we're talking about would help them also save a ton of money on
They could. Yes, they could.
Their investment in that interchange.
And I guess if I can, I would like to say, and I said this in the public hearing meeting too, that intersection is one of the heaviest commercial areas that we have in Bonner Springs. It will always have traffic, and it's actually a good thing to have traffic there.
Sure. It's revenue.
Are you done?
I can be. I am. Yeah.
You can always come back to
No, it is good. It's great.
Yeah, Ms.
Good
Blanks?
discussion.
I while we're working on long-term solutions, I would really like partnerships with KDOT in the traffic, the light, right? I know that we've made some adjustments that have helped, and then we like weirdly reverted back, and then
They've been making changes off and on, I've noticed, for a few months, it seems like. Oh, yeah.
So as long as, and we got to a point a while back that the flow I thought was really good, and then it just randomly, the lights went back to being really short. So I would love to see that continued work with them. And then I think I've been told that it's just not wide enough, but if there's just any way to make that left-hand turn onto 7 North and do that a 2-lane left-hand, I think would just be amazing. Because I know there's 2 lanes right there. One goes straight towards Walmart, the other one's a left. If there's a way to make
The conversations that
both
we have.
of
and
them.
then you have the individual that wants to say, turn at Arby's, and so they're in the right-hand lane because they know, and then people can't turn. It's not a poor design, but it is meeting its maximum potential, we can put it that way. And yeah, 2 left turns to the north, not a bad idea. If you could squeeze in a right-hand turn, you're
'Cause I think
kind of
that
starting to move towards
we
what
can all
we're
agree it's that
thinking.
left-hand turn that really backs up on Kansas Avenue. So if there could just be a longer left-hand light, that would be amazing. And then I read in here, when it comes to the actual site plan for the project, what is the actual, like, how many feet? I read that the project will be 10 feet against somebody's fence or property line. Do we have actual?
There's a 30-foot, 25 or 30-foot setback that's required, along with buffering. No, that's not.
I know what you're talking about, and I did go out to GIS maps.
Okay.
They built their deck behind a above-ground pool right up to the property line. But there was actually, the developer addressed it in that meeting. The back end of those apartments, or those units, will actually be 25 feet from the property line.
Okay.
And there'll also be, I think they talked about, there would be some screening as well through there.
Yeah, I would just say that while I know we have existing neighbors there, of just to really be mindful of the homeowners that do live there, and working to make sure that there's not too much of an excess, especially with how I know how big that plot is. And this is a smaller project compared to the original one that was proposed that won't be taking up as much land. So if there's just a way to work with them, I would really appreciate and encourage that.
The setbacks along the boundary are at least 25 feet, so it's the same as other rear yards, actually.
Okay.
And single-family zoning districts.
Well, thank you for your continued work on this, and to planning and zoning. I think a lot of us just needed a little bit more clarification, and I appreciate us getting a chance to review that traffic study, so thank you.
Mr. Reeves?
Yes, along the same line, I'm sorry. Years ago, there was a design on the 7th where it was a flyover with a roundabout underneath, and that was supposed to be like 15, 20 years out. Is that still out there?
I mean, that is the KDOT plan. They did a whole plan up and down the K7 corridor. Some cities have since left that plan behind, and some others have moved on. That is still the plan that is out there.
But what we have now is something else that we're working on.
Yes, we do. We have an alternate
that we
plan
can
from
handle
that.
more immediately, correct?
Maybe. It would still take some reconstruction, but it would be less.
Yeah, okay. But along with the development of this project, it could be developing that also to get.
So it's at our city, well, it's not, I presented it to our city engineer. We're working together to try and see what number we can come up with to run a simulation, more or less, to see how it operates, and that's kind of we're moving towards a good design, hopefully.
Mark, not to sorry, Bob, are
on.
you done?
But, hold on. Were you done, Mr. Reeves?
I thought somebody was trying to interject on something I was saying, which is okay.
Well, kinda.
Okay. Go ahead then.
Okay, question. What is the reasoning behind KDOT's feeling that this flyover, AK1, they've gone down there on Johnson Drive, why is this so important when if you go down to Olathe, that's a nightmare. And how are they feeling that what is their thinking? In fact, well, before, a couple of years ago, we were in the meeting with KDOT, and they couldn't come up with a.
So as far as I know, there is actually no active MOU anymore. It has expired. All of the cities up and down K7 had signed on to this memorandum of understanding to do this K7 plan, which was done and completed 2005.
Mm-hmm.
And then funding was just all taken away. And so there's been little to no funding other than, I believe, the Johnson Drive interchange. Olathe expressly said we're out and we're going to do our own thing. And Spring Hill has been using it to their advantage, but a lot of the cities did not see anything come of the plan. There was no funding left from KDOT. It was all taken away, and so it just...
That's what they told us back in 2019, 2020, and the concern I have is the fact that we are the only city, the only area affected by their plan, if you want to call it that. And I, along with a lot of other people, are really not happy about it because I believe that our taxes based off of K7 and Kansas Avenue is 60% of our tax base, or higher or lower, but anyway, it comes from that area. And
I had actually heard that opinion voiced before I was even employed here, so I kind of understood the assignment, I guess we could say, that you guys were not necessarily in support of that anymore. So we've kind of, again, with funding and everything, that whole plan up and down the highway just kind of got shelved. So it's been up to other cities to either devise their own ways to make intersections better, lighting or street improvements themselves, or I lost my train of thought and I apologize for that. So that's kind of where we thought, well, actually it was not us, it was the former planner that was hired that was here for just a short time. She sat down one day and devised a new plan. So we're seeing if that operates better than a flyover.
Well, I hope so, because I know the line of sight, excuse me, coming off of I-70, coming southbound, that line of sight up there by the car wash, I've wondered for a long time why they haven't cut that hill down, and it would create a lot better. And I definitely support what Ms. Blank said about the double turn lane, and maybe KDOT or maybe McDonald's would let us have a portion of their sidewalk to make a right turn only. So, okay. Mark, thanks for all your help.
Close, though. You're getting close. That's exactly.
Mr. Reeves?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I really emphasize that we need more lanes there, as everybody has talked about.
Sure.
And at this point, if the council decides to approve it, we're putting a lot of trust out there for things like this to get done. I hope you understand that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So
I would
that's all I have
put
to say
that
for now.
trust back in you all to budget wisely.
Well, to reel it back in, even the one, if I remember right, and listening to the meeting, even the one dissenting vote liked the project. Her only concern was the traffic.
Yes.
Just as what was stated here. So everybody was on board. They think it's a great project. It's just they were concerned about the traffic, and I understand. Correct. Everybody is. But my case in point is what I tried to make a couple months ago is that the traffic will continue to increase in that intersection. Even if it's not traffic from Bonner, it will be coming from the west, it'll be coming from the south. The traffic will increase. Those developments that occur there will not provide us any potential funding in our community, where this is a project that will provide direct ad valorem funding as well as potential shoppers into our different venues that we have at that intersection or in the downtown corridor. So you have to kind of keep that in mind, that if we're going to add growth to that area, does the intersection need to be addressed? Yes, but do we also make sure at the same time we're also bringing something in that's going to help with funding in our community to help support that intersection, those upgrades? Any other comments, questions? Seeing none, I would go ahead then have the clerk go ahead and record a vote.
We're voting on a motion to adopt an ordinance approving the rezoning and preliminary development plan request for the bungalows at Bonner Springs. Gurley.
Yes.
Kip.
Yes.
Reeves.
Yes.
Shannon.
Yes.
Wood.
Yes.
McMahon.
No.
Blanks.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, thank you very much. I guess you are here for the next time as well, Mr. Lee, so we'll go on to BSRZ 0126, rezoning request for 236 Santa Fe Road.
Sorry about that. Yes, sir. Again, Mark Lee, Community Development Director. The current zoning of the property as RR Rural Residential does not allow for, I guess I should put this more in context instead of just going into the staff report. This is a little piece of property that is owned by the land bank currently. It sits down on Santa Fe, which is just, we'll say, west of the old mill properties. There's a few industrial buildings, and then there's a house attached to some of them, and then there's an empty lot, and then there's a house, and then there's some more empty lots before you get to Wood End. That map is in the staff report. The current zoning of the property as RR Rural Residential does not allow for industrial storage as a use, but does allow for single-family residences. The property at 236 Santa Fe Road is currently vacant and in the land bank. The request to rezone the property to heavy industrial allows for the property to be used for a use other than single-family residences. This request is for the construction of a small industrial storage building. The applicant is also requesting some, that's a variance, I'm sorry, I just kept reading. Hey, there's also some variances that are going to be requested that was supposed to be held at the last meeting in Planning Commission, but we didn't have a quorum, so it's actually pushed. But it did not affect the rezoning of the property in general. So again, this is just a small piece of property that is owned by the land bank that an individual, a local resident, has reached out and wanted to purchase, and they're just wanting to zone it the same as what's directly adjacent, or at least on one side.
Thank you. I would go ahead and entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to adopt an ordinance approving the rezoning request for 236 Santa Fe Road.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Gurley, a second by Ms. Wood. And we'll start with you, Mr. Reeves. Any comments, questions?
Just the usual question. Any problem with the neighbors?
No, not to my knowledge. As I said, that there's a countertop business just to the south, and then there's a welding facility, and there's a few other heavy industrial uses right there. It's along our truck route and everything else.
That helps me quite a bit knowing when you said the well. I'm real clear on where it is now. Thank you.
Sure.
Ms. Blanks?
No questions. Thanks, Mark.
Mr. McMahon?
I don't have any questions.
I don't have any.
No questions.
I think, and Mr. Reeves, I think there's, the only residence would be actually on either the north side of Wood End and or to the west of that intersection, correct?
There is a house adjacent, but it's vacant. And yes, there is actually, I could say there's a house to the south, but it's associated with the business. So there is actually no residents living in that area.
Gotcha.
Neighbors, I was referring to businesses.
Oh, I figured
Yes.
you were talking about maybe
Sure.
residential, so that's why I want to make sure. Okay.
But those two, yeah.
If there's no further questions or comments, I would go ahead and have the clerk go ahead and record a vote.
Blanks.
Yes.
McMahon.
Yes.
Wood.
Yes.
Shannon.
Yes.
Reeves.
Yes.
Kip.
Yes.
Gurley.
Yes.
Motion passes.
And that takes us on to item number 3, BSRZ 0620, or N0226, rezoning request for destination KCK.
Good evening again, Council, Mr. Mayor, Mark Lee, Community Development Director. This is in relation to Destination KCK. It's up the corner of 118th and State Avenue. The current zoning of the properties in question does not allow for the uses being requested. The city has been working with a development group, Epic Resort Destinations, in an effort to bring a multi-use entertainment development to the area of 118th and State Avenue. The mixed-use development will consist of a variety of lodging and entertainment experiences, amusement park attractions, restaurants, and other family-friendly amenities to the area. The development has applied for and received a Star Bond designated area encompassing the development. The development will be responsible for the extension of specific services to the site. Those include water, sanitary sewer, and internal street network construction. A development agreement has been negotiated and completed between the city and the development group that would require these extensions, among other items and timelines, to be adhered to by the developer. Staff has worked to create a zoning category that they feel best fits the proposed use. That zoning district was created in early 2025 and incorporates several of our existing zoning districts and uses into one comprehensive zoning district, the ENT Entertainment District. This was in an effort to alleviate potential constant conflicts with the UDO and the need for ongoing variance requests that may arise from such a development, as well as introduced new uses into the table of uses. Few of those uses were aerial displays and the recreational vehicle parks. Furthermore, it allowed for a combination of uses that were allowed in various other commercial districts currently. I think as Megan kind of alluded to, they had a site plan out there. I believe it will change some now with the announcement facility just going to the north of there. But this was something that we've been working on for a while.
I would go ahead and entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion to adopt an ordinance approving the rezoning request for Destination KCK.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Shannon, a second by Mr. Reeves, and we'll start with you, Mr. McMahon.
I don't have any, thank you for all you're doing, by the way. Thank you. No questions.
Ms. Woods,
Thank you for all you're doing.
Ms. Gurley,
No questions.
No question.
Ms. Blank,
No questions. Thanks for all your work, Mark.
Mr. Reeves.
No questions.
I know that we'll have to wait till that plan comes through, their new resubmitted plan, but I would assume based upon I don't know if it was the engineer or who was there at the meeting, but as was stated, I'm assuming that south portion where they talked about 120-foot buffer, they're not probably planning on building that direction. Any new construction would be to the west where the RV park was, correct?
From what I know.
That's what the expectation is.
They indicated on their initial plan there was RV parks on each of the corners. I believe both of those are going away. I would imagine the one along State Avenue would turn into something a little more dense. I'm not sure about the other one.
Gotcha. Because I do know that the individual who did speak out against it was worried about lives not just south of I-70, but lives south of Riverview.
Right. Yes, sir.
You know, I don't know how far a buffer you go to give somebody, but thinking of the homeowners that are up there that do live up in that area, we're talking at least another 120 foot.
Okay.
That should be based upon what they're saying. So if there's any other comments, questions, I would go ahead and have the clerk go ahead and record the vote.
Reeves?
Yes.
Blanks?
Yes.
McMahon?
Yes.
Kip?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Gurley?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Lee.
Thank you all very
Appreciate
much.
You had a long night tonight, didn't you? On to item number 4, Fire Station Alerting System, VRYX. I'm sorry.
Try and get through it as quick as I can for my colleagues.
I'm sure they appreciate it.
Mr. Mayor, Council, James Ebe, Fire Chief, Bonner Springs Fire Department. The Brink system is the platform that delivers calls for service from the Kansas City, Kansas Fire Department Communication Center to the Bonner Springs Fire Station. It operates on both an overhead system, the speaker system that's in the station, and also on a mobile application that our department members can receive on their phones to track calls for service. The system is already in use with the Kansas City, Kansas Fire Department Communication Center and is utilized by the Bonner Springs Fire Department, the Edwardsville Fire Department, and the Kansas City, Kansas Fire Department. And it is a sole source provider. It is the only company authorized to work on that proprietary system. The current Brink system at the Bonner Springs Fire Station is not fully operational. Alerts fail to sound in several areas of the building, including the administration offices, the common restroom, and part of the common crew areas. This inconsistency comes from a lack of maintenance and, what I'm told, building modifications after the Bonner Springs Police Department moved out a few years ago. Reliable alerting is critical to timely emergency response. Therefore, it's imperative that the Brink system be fully repaired, upgraded to current hardware and software standards, and covered under an annual service and maintenance agreement. The cost for the alerting system will be covered by surplus from 2 current CIP funds. One is from the engine carried over from 2025, and the other is funds remaining after the North Door project has already begun. And the $3,000 annual maintenance and service fees will be paid through the fire department operational budget. So I'm here this evening asking for your approval to spend those funds in that way and to enter into a service agreement.
That's it. Thank you, Chief. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak on this item? Seeing none, I would go ahead and entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to authorize the repair and upgrade of the Bricks alert system at the Bonner Springs Fire Station in an amount not to exceed $55,285 and to authorize annual maintenance and service fees in an amount of $3,000.
Second.
Roger and I keep going at it.
Chris got in there
Well,
too.
oh, I didn't even catch Chris down
Give it to
there, so-
Chris.
Well,
Let's do it again.
no, no, please no. With that, we have a motion by Ms. Gurley, and we'll go ahead, and the coin was a 3-sided coin that fell on Ms. Wood. So the second goes to Ms. Wood. And so with that, I'll begin with you, Ms. Blanks. Any comments, questions?
No questions, Chief. Thanks for being on top of items like this that make a difference in you and your staff's operational day-to-day.
Thank you.
Mr. Reeves?
Glad this is getting back up into operation again. Thank you.
Mr. McMahon?
Emily said it. Thank you.
And it's a good report. The detail is helpful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Gurley?
I just love that projects came in under budget and we can spend that excess wisely. Thank you.
Thanks for being on top of it, Chief. That's very important. And it shows that you're on, you and fire and police, I'm sorry, EMTs, police, fire, everybody is on top of it for our families. And that's what a compliment. Good job.
Thank you.
Yes, I appreciate everybody's efforts up there. I always hear wonderful reports of people who are just amazed at how quick people from the fire department are on the scene. So this is just one more thing that we need to make sure that that continues. So with that, unless somebody's got some other comments, questions, I would go ahead and have the clerk go ahead and record the vote.
Kip?
Yes.
McMahon?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Blanks?
Yes.
Gurley? Yes. Shannon?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it this evening. On to item number 5, a resolution authorizing the issuance of general obligation bonds in an amount not to exceed $400,000 to fund the cost of improvements to lift station number 2. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. Matt Beats, Public Works Director. Basically, this project is us getting started on the Lift Station 2 project that I spoke over in my report earlier tonight. This is to get us, actually the next 2 items are all based on Lift Station 2. So we needed to get this project going. We're starting to receive pressure through the Kansas Department of Health and Environment, KDHE, and the EPA to get something moving. And even though we are still continuing to pursue reimbursement through our insurance company, we needed to get started. So this is basically establishing the funds for us to get started. This project is replacing the lift station 2 that was damaged a few years ago with the new style lift station. The current one that's down there now is basically it's 2 pits, a dry pit and a wet pit. Exactly what they sound like. Wet pit is where all the wastewater goes into. The dry pit is about 40 feet deep. You have to take an elevator ride down to it, and that's where all the pumps are at. Our past Public Works Director, actually one day, him and I were talking about this, and he said, if I'd have known we had one of these, I would have taken the job because they're dangerous. And they are. They're old. They're very old school. The new style would actually be more of one that actually has all the equipment above ground, and it's just one wet pit. So that's what we're planning on going with on this new style. Back in 2010, we also added along Front Street, when we redid that project, we added a second force main that's been down there for future growth. This will actually take that and incorporate that into the design as well, so that we will be ready when that line needs to come on, we'll have everything in place to do so. The new lift station location is roughly, I believe that's northwest of the current station. It's right behind Valley Feed, but it'll be accessed off of 2nd Street instead of off of Front Street. It's city property at this point, and our plan is to basically start this project, this construction project, build this thing, and then be able to tie it into the existing force main and the new force main, and along with any of the gravity sewer lines that are feeding it. And then while the current lift station is operating, so we should see very little downtime from any of our equipment during the switchover process from the old one to the new one, or temporary one to the new one. I'll answer any questions I can.
Before we move forward, I do want to make a correction for the record. The copy I had said not to exceed 400,000, but I thought when I read that, that was not accurate. Well, I did see now that it's 4 million, not 4,000.
Yeah, we estimate the lift station itself, construction-wise, is going to be around $3.5 million. So the rest of it is inspection and design.
Okay. With that, is there anybody from the public who wishes to address this item? Seeing none, I would go ahead and entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve a resolution authorizing the construction of certain sewage system improvements and authorizing general obligation bonds to be issued in an amount not to exceed $4 million to pay the cost of such improvements, all pursuant to KSA 12-617 and KSA 12-618.
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Blanks and a second by Mr. Shannon. And we'll start with you, Mr. Shannon.
No questions, Matt. Thanks for all you do.
Do you have a rough timeline for the construction of this new one?
Sure. In your memo, there is actually a timeline. I was actually pulling it out, so I had it for the next
I
one.
actually did read my packet. I swear I did.
We're looking at, our goal is to actually put this thing out for bid by November of this year. And then with construction starting either December or early in 2027. And actually, no, construction being awarded in December, pre-construction in January 27, and then starting in January 2027 to September.
And then when it comes time to decommission the temporary solution, do we have to pull those pits and fill and re-level the ground?
We'll fill them in.
Okay. Oh, just fill them in and leave them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Good questions. Thank you.
Mr. McMahon?
I don't have any well, I guess one, just in doing this, this allows, this expands or helps with growth, right? I mean, new system, we're replacing the old, we're wanting to build, and there's more water, there's more waste and all of that, right?
Yeah.
It's stirred gently, so.
So the lift station that we're proposing to build is, yes, it has larger capacity. The lift station right now isn't the problem that you keep hearing from us about. It's the lines leading to that lift station that are quickly filling and hitting their max level. So, so the main trunk line that's coming into it is getting to be to the point where it's full. The lift station is still can operate the way it's running, but this is actually going to allow us to add more wastewater from development to this lift station and be able to transfer it down even in the future with whatever comes through.
Excellent. Thank you.
I don't know if this is a question for you specifically, but do you know how much insurance that claim would be willing to, as we're like seeking? Are we allowed to ask that?
We're currently reviewing it with some outside consultants. It was our opinion is it was way undervalued by at least, we think it's about 10% of what we should have got, so.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hence why it's taken
Because
this
we've
long.
talked about this before. This has
Yes.
been kind of an ongoing.
Since 22?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for continuing to try. I appreciate it. Other than that, no questions. Again, infrastructure. I know we are pushing forward and investing and it all just comes down to patience and financing. So I know you guys are doing your best to keep up with deferred projects and growth at the same time. So thank you.
Mr. Reeves?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the changes.
Change orders.
No other questions.
I don't really have much to add to it at all, so it's something we definitely need to get done. We need to make sure that we're not in any violation with KDHE, so. If there's anything else, comments, questions, or sarcastic remarks by Mr. Reeves, I would go ahead and have the clerk go ahead and record the vote.
Wood?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
McMahon?
Yes.
Kip?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Gurley?
Yes.
Blanks?
Yes.
Motion passes.
On to item number 6, lift station number 2 replacement, the engineering design services.
Matt Beats, Public Works Director. All right, let's start spending money. Here we go. All right, so this is the first step of this for us. It's the design of the new lift station, and it is the bidding services for that lift station. So putting it out for construction. So we kind of went through it here. This was one of the easiest memos I think I wrote because it was literally copy and paste from the other one. So it's basically the same information that we had on the other, but. Same timeline, and this, so funding for this part of it, though, is not included in that $3.5 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So we're using carryover from the 2025 wastewater operating budget, which will require a 2026 budget amendment. That was what I was trying to remember. Yeah, this is just for the 110,396 is basically, it's the final or it's the design and the bidding services.
With that, is there any resident that wishes to speak on this item? Seeing none, I would go ahead and entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to authorize the city manager to execute an agreement with Wilson and Company for engineering, design, and bidding services for the replacement of lift station number 2 in the amount of $110,396.
Okay, we got a motion by Mr. Shannon, a second by Mr. Reeves, and we'll start with you, Mr. Reeves. Any comments, questions?
Where is lift station number 2?
It's right behind Valley Feed down on Front Street.
Okay, I kind of thought that, but I wasn't sure.
Yep.
Just kind of, thank you.
Ms. Blanks?
No questions. Thank you.
Mr. McMahon?
No questions, Matt.
Thank you for the details.
No questions.
No questions. No questions. Thank you.
And nothing else to add, so with that, unless there's somebody has anything else to say, I would go ahead and have the clerk go ahead and record the vote.
Blanks?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Gurley?
Yes.
McMahon?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Kip?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, we're getting closer. Item number 7, awarding the bid for the 2026 annual mowing services agreement. Staff?
Matt Beats, Public Works Director. This is our annual mowing contract. We use this company that we're recommending this year is a company that we've had quite a bit of experience with in the past. They've always been really easy for us to work with. They handle anything we ever have with them. Lawn Force is their name. This will mow 36 sites, I believe. We put it out for a public bid and had two companies submit bids on it. It does vary. Some years we'll have like 6 or 7. Some years we only get 2, and this is one of those 2 years. The other company that submitted a bid, it was not complete. They left off, the bid form actually has every individual site listed on there, so they give us what it costs for them, because the way we do this, it comes out of like the fire and EMS facility. They pay for their mowing services, so we need to know what to charge them for their mowing. Likewise with the PD, City Hall, and everyone else. So, but that one bid, they only submitted like, I don't know, maybe like 8 or 10 of the sites with numbers on them. So we considered that non-responsive, and we didn't, kind of more or less tossed it out, leaving law enforcement the only one. I looked at their prices from what they did like even 3 or 4 years ago, and they're still really close to it. We didn't use them last year. We used they were second low last year. We used another company, and that was a company we ended up terminating